All right, welcome to the show. And I just realized as we're just in the last few seconds of the countdown that this is going to be an interesting show because I didn't put a slide in here for my schedule of what I'm talking about tonight. Just had it on the front screen there, so you guys should be able to see what we're talking about. But I will just kind of review it as we go along. It's been a interesting couple of weeks here. I have last time we talked, it was work. I was working on a server, seeing what I could do to build a server with RAID 5 level drives on it. And lo and behold, I was successful in creating a server with RAID 5. I've got 3 hard drives in there at RAID level 5. So it means 3 drives are redundant drives so that all my information is being backed up. Took a little bit to get that going, mainly because it was hard to find 3 drives in the week I was on vacation so that I could try to set this up in an appropriate amount of time. I only had 1 week to do this, and everywhere I went, I tried Micro Center, I tried Best Buy, I tried several different places, and I couldn't find 3 hard drives that had the same parameters. So I basically want 3 identical hard drives. Nobody had them. They go, well, I got 1 or 2. Well, that doesn't really do me a lot of good when I need 3 drives that are 4 terabytes with the same run speeds, everything like that. And I wasn't looking for SSD. I was looking for the traditional hard drives. And I ended up having to drive all the way over to Knoxville, an hour and a half from here, just to pick up 3 hard drives so I could get this done in the amount of time of my vacation. So we spent the whole day in Knoxville. That was a nice little trip. Me and my oldest child and my wife, we drove up there, picked up the hard drives, did a little other sightseeing, so to speak. In other words, went to some thrift stores. And I got home and installed those drives the next day. So as of right now, the drives are installed. I have a RAID 5 level server. I moved it from my workshop here and put it into my storage room, which is right where my internet connection comes into the house and where my router is. And I've been working on it. I've been working through the SSH connection. But when I went to configure Nextcloud, because I was like, okay, well, we'll use Nextcloud. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and maybe a little more powerful than I was originally looking for. And probably might not use all the features that Nextcloud provides. But, I was like, okay, we'll try it. And I keep on getting stuck on one aspect of it, trying to get my domain in there to allow it to finish registering and allowing me to finish setting everything up. So I was like, well, I don't want to, I'm just going to see what else there is. Been working on it slowly, looking for something. There's FileCloud, there's Nextcloud, a few different programs. I just haven't found anything that I'm really happy and really wanting to work with. I know that it's not an emergency that I get this up and running, so I want to take my time and do it right. And it's definitely been a learning process that we've been doing this. So I think I'm being pretty successful getting that education and learning along the way. Now, in the way it is necessary that I do finish this, and I would like to try to finish it this month, because, as I said before, none of my stuff is backed up. That is scary. All my family photos, all my professional photos, as a photographer, all my video work, anything that I have is stored on a single drive at any one time. Nothing is backed up. So I did have an example of my what is it? My Cloud, Western Digital MyCloud. I had one here, a 3 terabyte drive. I would say there's probably a couple hundred gigs of information on it. I can't get into it. I can't access it. So that's what's prompted me to start wanting to build this servers, because I just lost some data that I can't get into right now. Now, I'm not going to give up on it. There probably is a way I can get in there and have access to this data, but it's going to take me a little bit of finagling, learning some new programs, stuff like that. And time is premium. I work a 40-hour week practically every week for the boss. Plus, I work 12 to 24 hours overtime a week. And so I don't have a lot of time. I just do this pretty much in the evenings and work on these projects and some of these videos and do photography. And yeah, it's just a lot. But I am pushing through. I will get the server done, but I don't really have a specific deadline. I'm going to try to get it done this month, but no real specific deadline. There's a lot of other interests that I'm having, a lot of other things that I'm experimenting with and learning about, and hopefully that will allow me to bring you guys a little bit more knowledge and a better understanding of what is out there for you guys to use. Open source, different computer systems, Linux systems, which I have more or less specialized in here. But I just need the time to sit down and do it. Now, this show, I don't do a lot of pre-prep. In other words, I don't script everything out. I don't record this and edit it and all that stuff, because my theory is, let's do this live. Let's do this for everybody's benefit. Not only am I learning new things, showing you other things that I've learned, things that I may be an expert in, but I'm also showing you that it's okay. You're going to make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to take your time and learn something. Right now we're doing computers and software and learning about different things like that. But we could be doing electronics. I'm definitely more skilled in electronics and putting electronic circuits together and throwing a bunch of stuff together. But, I'm taking the process, the time to learn. I am studying for the A+ exam. Most of the way done. To me, that will be fairly easy, in my opinion, because I have been working in the technology field with computers and whatnot for the last, I think 18 years. I'm not nearly an expert as somebody else might be, but I can honestly say I do know enough to, sometimes I like to say enough to cause trouble and not enough to know how to get out of it. But that is what I do. So I am going to show you things live, unedited. I'm going to stumble with my words in this on this live show. It's okay, because I'm also showing you that just to do something, you don't have to be the expert. If you want to start a live YouTube show or a YouTube show, or start doing photography or doing electronics or working with computers, you don't have to be an expert just to start. You just have to get out there and do it. I think that is a very important thing. You just need to get out there and do it. Yes, at first it's going to be not feel right. But over time, the more times you do this, I've done now live shows for the last few years. Most of it's been on and off, but I've been doing live shows. And I try to do it I don't do with editing. I like to make mistakes. I feel comfortable making mistakes, and that's going to help me grow because not only am I behind the camera or in front of the camera here doing these shows, but it's going to help me in my job when I can get up in front of people and not have to worry about what I'm saying and feel stupid about doing it. It's going to help me in my video work. It's going to help me in my business. When I have to do a business presentation or if I have to get up in front of my audience to talk, I'm going to feel more comfortable the more times I do this live without having to say, well, I just screwed up. I'm going to just edit that out. No, I'm not going to edit it out. You guys are going to see every mistake I make during these shows. So that is where I'm going. And now you have a little background. Today's topics that we're talking about, I want to touch on some password managers, why it's important to have them, virtual private networks, VPNs. Don't have a lot of experience with too many of them, but I will show you what I've done in the past and what I'm currently doing. We're going to talk about email security. There's not a lot that I do personally, but there are a few steps that I take to protect myself when using email. And then just a couple small things that we can do to help protect ourselves when we're using our smartphones. Do we want to be tracked? How do we want to have everything monitored and whatnot? We can make those changes. Now, it might not be perfect, but we can make changes to limit how much information about ourselves that we are giving to other people that are just profiting off of us. And this really, I got to thinking about this topic for this show because a week or so ago, I was paging through Facebook, one of the community pages here, and they were talking about, this bank and that bank and how their security's not very good and whatnot. And, and just, it's like, okay, well, see, you got a bank somewhere. That's first of all. No system, in my opinion, is truly guaranteed. There are steps you can take to protect yourselves. Even if you are, let's say, dealing with a business that doesn't have the best reputation, but there is ways you can protect your information. And that's kind of what started this whole thought process. So I was like, well, you know what? There's a few things that I've been doing for myself. There's a few things that I've started doing for myself in the last couple of weeks. And I just want to present them to you guys to say, hey, this is out there. This is available. It's up to you to take your steps and to what level you want your security to be. Now, I'm going to touch on password managers first. So password managers. I started using a password manager several years ago. Well, first I used to keep my passwords on an Excel spreadsheet. And I was doing that at work. I had one spreadsheet for work, one spreadsheet for home, for my private passwords and account information. And I would lock the spreadsheet, no problem. I can't get into the spreadsheet. I can't see what's in there when it's locked. So I was like, okay, well, nobody else can either. Lo and behold, after a couple of years of doing this, I got a message from the cybersecurity team at my place of employment that said, we can't be storing our passwords in an Excel spreadsheet on the computer here. I said, well, we've been doing it for years. I lock the spreadsheet so nobody can get into it. So it should be plenty secure. And then they sent me an email with a screenshot of my still locked spreadsheet with all my usernames, and what they did blur out my passwords, but they showed me everything, all my account information that I had for my work passwords. Like, oh. So it is still possible to see all my stuff even though my spreadsheets were locked. I said, well, okay, before that's kind of when I started learning about password managers. So I said, well, okay, what do you guys recommend that I use then? And they suggested at that time is Password Safe. So I got to exploring it a little bit and said, okay, I can do that. So I converted all my passwords over to Password Safe. And I've been using that for years now, several years now. Let me see if I can find my handy dandy little dashboard here. Let me just zoom over to it. So, Password Safe. I didn't put my flash drive into there. So, because here's the thing. I was like, okay, I don't necessarily want to keep my passwords now that we have an idea that there can be breaches. My idea of keeping a password on the computer online is probably the least secure thing I could do. And I was always worried about, okay, well, if I don't have internet connection, how do I get to my passwords? So, I got myself a USB encrypted flash drive. This is for my personal passwords I got. From my boss, I got one encrypted USB flash drive so that my passwords could be stored offline. I have control of when my passwords are in my computer. Hence, right here, it's showing me that I do not have access to my passwords because, wait, where are they? Well, they're still on my encrypted flash drive. Let me pull up the right. I'm going to put that down in the corner. Kind of help for you guys to see what's going on when I have the right cameras brought up. So, personal flash drive, work flash drive, both encrypted with a passcode on there. So, all I need to do, access my passwords, type in my code, put it in the USB port, and get this screen to pull up my password. Very secure. In fact, when it comes to password security, account security, that is the most secure level you can get to. So I'm very confident that yes, everything of mine is secure. When I remove it from that computer, the only way somebody's going to get my passwords is to physically come and take my drive away from me. Now we know that's really not going to happen. Plus, even if they took the drive from me, they still have to know the passcode to get into the drive. And I believe these Apricorn drives, you can have like 10 failed attempts at hacking or entering your password into here, passcode in here. After that, it locks. And you cannot get into these. Trust me, I've tried. So you can't get into them. You can't even call the factory and there's no factory reset. Your data's locked. And good luck in getting it. So I was very confident that, hey, my data's secure and that is a very positive plus. So I got secure data. Great. Awesome. That is the most secure thing I could do. So more recently, about, I would say a few months back, work again was making some more changes. They decided to, well, you know what, we're going to put a password manager, make a password manager available for you guys to use. You could use it for work. You can have multiple instances for home. You can use that. and we're going to allow you to have that on your work computer. So now we had a password manager that we can use at work. I still, to this day, I'm still using my encrypted flash drive. But I got to think about this. Okay, you know what? At home, I started using something more than just password safe. Password safe. I've been using the Proton products. So I've been using the Proton VPN or Proton Pass, which is basically a password manager. So I am starting to convert all my passwords here. They have a file extension that goes onto your browser, and all my passwords are stored there. It is protected by a pass key, so somebody can't just walk up to my browser here and just start accessing my passwords. They have to know my key to get into my passwords. So I'm like, okay, that's a little bit more safer. And having studied a little bit about the history of Proton, it's like, okay, I've purchased the annual service for Proton, so I have my mail and all this, and they finally now just added the Proton Pass. So I'm like, okay, we'll start using it, because I understand the company has worries about encryption and worries about customer safety and data safety. So okay, I'll start using this. And I got thinking about it also. My data, my passwords, if I can't get into a website because I don't have internet connection, what do I need my passwords for? When I have internet connection to get into my passwords or into my different accounts that I want to access, my passwords are going to be available. So I was like, okay, I can deal with that. The only passwords that I really don't need in a password vault is my computer login, which I can't use the password vault for anyway. I have to have that memorized. And anything offline that I need to access. That's just my computer login. So I'm converting everything over to Proton VPN. Now, none of the things I'm talking about today is sponsored by this. I'm just talking about them because, one, I use the product or understand a little bit about product. And my employer uses the product, but I don't get anything from talking about these products. No financial gains, no nothing. I get that up front right now. In fact, I'm the one that's paying Proton to use their service. I'm paying for it. And I would rather use a service that I pay for. We'll talk about that here in a little bit in a minute. But now I've got a password manager that has been fairly reliable. There are a couple bugs. Proton is new, as you saw on the dashboard when I brought that up. It says right here, it says new, pass new, which means it's a newer product. So you have to expect there's going to be a few hiccups. I can live with that. And I've discovered a few hiccups that it hasn't been working 100%, but it works. I'm comfortable with it the way it works right now. So I'm good with that. So I've used Password Safe. Now I've used Proton Pass. And I'm in the process of trialing Keeper, which is what work is using. So I'm going to be transferring all my work passwords and usernames over to Keeper. And we're just going to use that. Because I'm like, you're right. I don't need something. If I don't have that internet connection, I don't need the password. It'll be there when the connection comes back. So those are password managers. You've got the online stuff. Yes, companies get hacked. Password management companies can get hacked. I understand that. I went with Proton because I liked their level of encryption as a company in general. Not saying the other companies aren't encrypted. This is what I prefer at the moment. And, well, I think it will be a little bit before I really have to worry about getting hacked, so to speak. And if you are really that worried about somebody obtaining, because you see, Proton does not keep data about you, doesn't keep your information on their servers. In fact, when you sign up for an account, you don't even have to give them your name. I did, but they don't have to keep it on the servers or anything. They don't record your address. They don't do that stuff. So even if their data was breached, somebody somebody attacking them is only going to get limited information anyway. But if you still don't feel comfortable about putting your passwords onto an online service, you still have flash drive. You don't have to have an encrypted flash drive. I have a flash drive that is a duplicate of this that is not an encrypted USB flash drive. I just thought this would be the most secure because if I do lose it, all my passwords are still secure and safe. So yes, you have to have the passcode to get in here, and you have to have the passcode to get into the file that's in here to access those passwords. Extremely secure. That's what security professionals who are at high risk of having their stuff breached are doing. They keep it on one of these. I'm really not at that point. Will I get hacked someday? I'm sure. I see a lot of attacks coming my way through email and different accounts. I've seen lots of requests for password resets and different things like that. I've seen a lot of phishing emails. Yeah, that's out there. It's going to happen. But you have to be smart about it and not give in to it and report the stuff when it happens. All right. Now, let's see, where's the next thing we're going to mention? Next thing we're going to mention was about virtual private networks, VPNs. I use VPNs quite often. I have one on my phone that I use. Right now, as I'm showing you, I use the Proton package. I use the Proton VPN service. And let me bring that up for us right here. This is the computer version. It's really not too much different from the phone version. Just different format, different layout, but really the same data and everything. And I'm disconnected right now because I use 2 layers of VPN service. So what good is VPN service? You want to protect yourself against somebody obtaining your information, obtaining your locations. Be able to, if you're in a hot cafe somewhere, you're at the coffee shop and you're hitting the Wi-Fi, somebody can be in there as a man-in-the-middle attack or just spoofing or whatever and see your information because they can access that router and see your information. But with a VPN service, now you are not, you're passing through the local router that you're accessing the internet through and attaching to a router somewhere else in the world. In fact, what we're showing here is different locations in the world that I have access to in routers and stuff like that. So if I actually hook to this with a single level VPN service, it'll show my home here. Doesn't tell you where in the world my home is. It just shows my home. And that I'm connected to, it'll, just like these lines here, it'll show that I'm connected to another service. Now, with a second layer, not only is it going to show that I'm connected to one, but it's going to show me I'm connected to 2. It's going to have the line, and this is kind of a little messy, but I'm not turning it on right now because my stream's going to slow down. I'm using the same computer as my stream is on. This is a Windows computer. It is optimized for Windows. Now, as we saw in on this, they do have that's Proton Pass. Um, they've got Android for their VPN service. Let me bring their website up here. Yeah. Well, they have different VPN apps here. I am still working at loading into my Linux system this VPN. I do not have it on my Linux system right now, and that's why I'm on my Windows computer showing you this service, because I don't have it on my laptop right now, which is probably where I need it the most. I don't need it necessarily on my Windows system that's here at home. I'm behind different firewalls and stuff like that. That's a little more difficult for people to get in. But I take my laptop. When I'm on public Wi-Fi or whatever, I want to have that backup, just like I do with my phone. My phone will not show up, and if it does show up on the hotspots, they can't see the data being transmitted because it is secured by a VPN. VPN will secure it. That's what that will give you the best security. So I used the VPN service. Before Proton, I had NordVPN. I use that. I wouldn't say all the time, but I did use it once in a while, especially more so when I went to coffee shops or places like that, or if I'm in a hotel room. If I'm in a hotel room, those are famous places for people getting hacked or losing their information, having their data stolen, because those are public Wi-Fi systems. It's easy to access somebody else's information when they're on a public Wi-Fi system. So to protect yourself a little bit on public Wi-Fi, you need to use a VPN service. They may see that your computer, your phone, is on that network, but the data is encrypted from point A to point B. And not every service has the same level of encryption. You have to know which services do. Some are end-to-end encryption, and that can be misleading, because is end-to-end okay from from your device to the computer or the server that I'm accessing? Is that end-to-end, or is it end-to-end from your computer to the router, or to the switch that's taking care of your traffic? You have to know where that end-to-end is. But to give yourself a little bit better security, you have to have some type of VPN service. You really want to do that. You don't want to be looking at bank statement or your bank accounts and stuff like that, putting in your bank's passwords. It is so easy for somebody to sit in a hotspot, in a cafe, wherever, and steal your passwords. I would never, without a VPN service, never put in your passwords into your bank's website. If somebody's paying attention, you'll be cleaned out quickly. And there's really no proof that the bank will be like, well, it's your information. You put that information in there. How can you prove that you didn't withdraw all that money? Yeah, I can't, because somebody just stole your information and used it against you. There's so many different ways. Now, I should, in another video, come up and say, okay, here's what they're doing. I could show you different tools, different products that people are using to steal your information from public Wi-Fi's. It's really actually scary because of how simple it is. But you also can't let that stop you from living life. But what you can do is take steps to protect yourself. VPNs are a great way of doing it. So I've used NordVPN, and I am currently using Proton VPN. Now, when it comes to email, oh, well, you first had your Hotmail, you had Yahoo Mail, Gmail came around. I forget what year it started. I know I got my first Gmail account in, I think, 2004 was when I started with Gmail. And that was back in the day when you actually had to be invited. You actually got an invitation by someone who else had it. And we were basically in beta version with Gmail. Now there was a lot of promises by Gmail of this and that, and oh, this is going to be better, and your information is going to be safe, and all this stuff like that. But you know what? That was just a front for what they were really trying to do, is build a company based on the information they're going to pull from your email. Partially based on that information. It's the same exact thing that Yahoo Mail did. It does. Not sure if I know of anybody that, I think I still have a Yahoo account that I haven't logged into probably for 10 years. Some of them, I think they're getting rid of some accounts that haven't been accessed for X number of years. But anyways, I do have Gmail accounts. As I said, I've been on Gmail since beta testing. But these companies are giving you free email access, making it real easy and convenient for you, because what they're going to do is every message that comes onto their servers, they get algorithms. They're looking at your messages. They're looking at what you're buying, what sites you're going to, what sites you've signed up for. They're taking that information so that they can target ads to you. Target you as a consumer from what you're using that they're giving you. I have Gmail, but I also have Proton Mail. As I said, I'm not getting any money from Proton. I'm paying Proton. Proton looks at their customers different. When you look at Yahoo, Gmail, and those free services, their customer is the advertisers. You are the product. Basically, they're selling you the product to their customers, who are the advertisers and the corporate world. That's how that works. That's why you are able to save, well, I think Gmail gives you 15 gigs of space for storing your data. They want you to store every email you can. They want you to store every picture, everything, so they can data mine and target you with ads and different things like that. They're selling your information to the corporate world. Now, what I like about Proton, a little bit more secure in my opinion. Even having your own domain. I have my own domain. I have several email addresses that I have for my business because I have domains. I've got like 4 or 5 domains. But that's a little bit more secure. You have to be aware of which companies you're going through, because not every company has the same security or looks at it the same way. But you get another little bit more control of your information when you're paying for a service. All these free services, you're the product that's being sold to somebody else. You have no control over that. You have a little bit more control when you actually go out and pay for something. And what a lot of people look at is, why do I want to pay for email? I don't want to pay for email. Why do I want to pay for email? So they continue on with the free email services. Let me refresh this screen over here real quick. So I've got a problem with that. For many years I did use the free services, but now I'm using the paid services. I'm moving away from the the free services because I want to have that control. And in fact, listening to the CEO, the owner of Proton, he puts the customer back where it should be. You are the customer. His business is there to support you, to give you what you need. And what you need is security in your email and a confidence that you're not being sold out. So he encrypts his emails. I said, yeah, I want to have a little bit more control. I don't want to be giving all this data over to the corporate world. They're making millions and billions of dollars off the data we're giving them for free. We're giving it to them for free, and they're just taking it and making boatloads of money. I said, I want a little bit more control over my information. So slowly, I've been transferring over to Proton Mail. A little bit more secure and encryption. Proton cannot, it's encrypted. Proton can't even read your emails off their server. If a government entity or a company comes and tries to pull data from their server, they're not really going to get any because of the encryption level. I like that. I like my data to be safe. So I'm going with a paid service. So if you want your data to be safe, you want to cut your ties with the free things, the free email, the free everything. You know, the free drive that you get from Gmail, put all your documents in there. Put your business documents in. Put everything. Well, you know what? They're scanning all that. They're pulling little bits of information out there to get to learn about you, how to target you. I don't want that. Plus, with my paid prescription in Proton, I get more drive space. I get more security in knowing that my data, my information is being protected. I just like that level of protection. So we had email. So we started out with password managers. We've gone to VPNs and through to email. Kind of the last thing, and what I'm still working with, I'm still learning a bit about, is how to secure my smartphone just a little bit more. Now I understand that it's got location services. It's got a lot of apps rely on this little GPS that's built into this. And yes, you can pull out your batteries and all this stuff like that. And if somebody really truly wants to track you, they're still going to be able to do it with your device. What a lot of people don't realize, you can turn on airplane mode. You can turn off location services and stuff like that. But there are certain localities, certain governments that require, for safety, for even with everything shut off, they still have to have access to your location information. Emergency services is one of them. They want to know that they can find you even if your phone dies while they're on their way to you or whatever. They still have access to this. It's like, okay. So it's hard to actually secure your phone. But you can do it. You can take steps to make it better. Now you could go down to the level of disconnecting, taking out your SIM card, which it still can be tracked, but you're not tied to a phone number. You can turn off location. Those are big steps in getting there. You can turn off Wi-Fi. So all these things are shut off when you're not actually using them. And that's an important thing. Yes, they're still going to be able to track you using the cell towers and satellite and stuff like that. But if you don't have a SIM card in there, then it makes it a little more um, inconvenient for you if you don't have a SIM card to make your calls when you need. You're not at least tied to a phone number being tracked. But without the SIM card, you can use things like a VoIP service for your phone. So you can connect to hotspots, you can then connect to Wi-Fi, and I believe there's a way to still connect through cellular services. Don't quote me on that, but I believe there's a way to do it using VoIP. But there's still ways to call with the VoIP that is not as easily tracked. Your VoIP number is not tracked as part of your cell phone. Even though you're calling from your cell phone, your VoIP number is kind of a separate number away from that, and it's not part of your phone's footprint. So those are things you can do to help limit how much people are able to track you. Google Maps, location services there. Even if you turn off location services, it just, instead of having more of a pinpoint on the map, it's going to just broaden it out a little bit. So maybe it can't pinpoint you down to more than 3-block radius of your location. And they're still going to kind of know where you're at. Just not as defined as if you have location services on. You can get rid of Google Maps. There are some open source maps that are available to use that are still pretty good. I mean, it's a little more cumbersome than Google Maps. Google Maps just made it really convenient so that you don't have to sit there and maybe download a map of a certain area or anything like that. It just lets you go anywhere and it'll keep updating your phone. But in that whole process, it's going to know what store you're next to. It's going to know what road you're driving down. It's going to know that you're in the stores. It's going to know where you are, what restaurants you're visiting, what activities you like to do. And you want to go to visit a park, it's going to know that. So now all that information is being taken and aggregated into an algorithm, and they're going to sell you something. They're going to sell your information to somebody who's going to do something with it, target you as a consumer. This wasn't such a big thing when I first started using computers and internet. It's like, okay, yeah, maybe somebody could do that, but they're going to get caught. You know, it's not going to be a big thing. But as I go on more and more, it's like, I don't want my data being used. I don't like to be used like that. I want to do something that's going to help protect myself. So I started studying about it a little bit and allowing myself to give myself the knowledge of how to maybe not feel fully protected, but how to give myself more protection. And it has gone a long ways. I've learned so much. I use certain things now, certain apps, certain password managers, VPNs. My phone VPN is on 24/7. The only time it's not on is, well, it's always on, even right now. When I'm at home right now, it is on. I can go in here, I can look, and it says protected. Yeah, I am protected through 2 different VPN services, which are 2 VPN sources, which is exactly it. Now I'm showing that I'm protected through 2 different countries. There's a lot of other cool things you can do with VPNs too, when it doesn't know which country you're in. But that's for a whole other topics. So we're starting to wrap up our discussion today. We've touched on the 4 topics: the password managers, the virtual private networks, the email, and kind of securing your phone a little bit. Do you have to do that? Absolutely not. But the way security is, way things are breached nowadays, and they can target anyone, you might want to take. You don't want your identity stolen. That is a pain just to get that all rectified. So those little steps, it may be an inconvenience to you at times, but all those little steps are going to be a lot better than having your data stolen, having your identity stolen. For it's going to give you peace of mind in knowing that you're just not sitting there lining somebody else's pockets at your expenses with your information that's free. Yeah, they're going to get their information one way or another, but let's limit how much information they're going to get. That's what these things can do. Limit the amount of information that you are putting out there to other services. Well, I know I've been rambling on. Hopefully you've taken some nuggets of information here, small or big. I'm just providing it. It's up to you to do that little extra research and figure out what is best for you, what works for your comfort level. Are you comfortable just giving your stuff out for free? Some people are. But you also have to understand that you go onto that public Wi-Fi, you're going to give your passwords, your usernames for free. And somebody's eventually, not a guarantee, but somebody's going to use that information to tax somebody else. That's just a given. That's in the world we live in. And I believe that we need to do what we can to protect ourselves against those threats. Didn't have to think about that, 10 years ago. It is our reality nowadays. And it's going to continue to be our reality. At some point, I get attacked on emails. I've had several different online accounts, a couple different bank accounts, where people have been trying to hack into them. And I'm not like a super rich person or a super high profile person. I'm just kind of an ordinary person who's getting hacked, or at least tempted. My password's been pretty good though. My security's pretty good, regardless of all these other things. Make sure your passwords are good. Use a password manager. Protect yourself. VPN. And then you can go to bed every night knowing that you've done the best you can to protect yourself, your family, and your information. I'm going to come up with another topic for a couple weeks from now. We are going to be back looking at 2 weeks from now, so probably be around January. Let's take a quick beat. Around the 25th of January. I'll come up with another topic. Maybe I'll have some time to work on that server again, and give you another update. But, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Hit the like button, follow, thumbs up, whatever is on that particular platform. So it kind of helps that algorithm and puts my information out in front of more and more people. Because the more that information is going to get out, the more we can help other people. Other people are going to see that they can use open source software. They can use Linux computer systems. They can use other things than just a standard out of the box. All right. I think that's it for now. It's been an interesting hour. Close. Yeah, right about an interesting hour here. And I think it's time to wrap it up. Head on upstairs, and I think we'll pick up one show on TV. We're kind of just finished going through Rookie right now. So I don't know. Maybe Rookie Feds. Watch usually 1 or 2 shows a night and then head off to bed. Be back up at 3:30 in the morning to head off to work. And tomorrow's Friday. Saturday there. Sunday's a work day for me. Sunday, Monday's work days, but I have Saturday. And we'll see what we can do. Keep in touch with Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Talk to you later, and we are out for today.